Here we are then, task 6 of 6 for the final major project, the evaluation. So let's have a look at this together. So this is the final piece, as it were. This is the bit that will round off your project. This is the part that will summarize your work, 3 months working on your final major project. At this point, you've done your research essay, looking at 5 examples of wonderful professional practice in the domain, the area that you want to create your final major project within. You've done your pitch and proposal, which has been agreed upon and negotiated with your course owner, myself. You've shown planning in a production file of documentation and a journal, which you started in task 3. You've created your project and you've shown me a continued evolving journal alongside that tells me about all the changes and adaptations you've made throughout the project. You've tested your product with people beyond your echo chamber of immediate friends, with the actual audience, with the second years, with university students, with people who are in the demographic of what you're targeting at. If you're making a kids graphic novel, then you'll be testing it with kids in the nursery, for example. If you're creating something for 30s, 50-year-olds, then you can actually speak to our learning support team maybe and get that actual demographic giving feedback on your work before you make the final tweaks. The evaluation asks you to do this. You've got your research feedback. You've got to start thinking about evaluating your product. Here you're going to refer to peer and self-assessment forms that will be given you. So what I mean by that is we'll be giving you templates, or certainly in lessons giving you the pro forma structure of questions you can use to actually show your work to people and to get feedback from them about your work, your peers as it were, your fellow students or people in the course that you're on first or second year. Self-assessment forms is something we'll be giving you to do to reflect on your work prior to submitting your work as well. So what I mean by that is looking at your work, looking at the form we're going to give you and to see how it measures up to the criteria. So when it comes to you submitting it, you know what sort of grade category you're aiming at. Audience feedback. Now this is getting people beyond your filter bubble of friends to feedback on your work. The research feedback would have given you that if you've done your research feedback well. Reflecting upon and comparing your project against what you spoke about in task 1. So in task 1, after looking at those 5 examples, you will have crystallized what you want to create for the FMP. Look back at task 1 now, the research essay. Has what you've created at the end been what you hoped to create? How does it compare? What's changed? Tell me the differences. Lastly, in the evaluation, I want you to think about your contribution to the project, what you did, what roles were you directing, acting, writing, sketching, building, rehearsing, producing, editing, colour grading, what were you doing, what were your roles? What have been the skills you've developed? Time management, being a leader, being able to delegate tasks to other people, being able to use Adobe After Effects. What have you developed? And also the skills that you need to further develop beyond this point. Looking at your project, what could you have done with having a better, stronger skill set within? So maybe After Effects is something you should have studied up on a bit more in the half-term break when there were Macs and people available for you to come in and practice, but you didn't. Maybe time management is something you still haven't quite got to grips with. Resilience, mental toughness. When the going gets tough, how do you respond? Reflect on all these things. Be brutally honest. Be confessional. But be specific. Don't be broad. Like I'm doing right now, do a vlog or a podcast if you need to. And then have the vlog or podcast transcribed. There's lots of software we can use to help you do that, to create the written text. And Google Docs and on Word Online, you can go to a voice typing option whereby it will type as you are talking. Helps you to get over blank page syndrome. Your evaluation needs to be detailed. Some of you have given me a few paragraphs at best for evaluations for the 5 projects leading up to now. It's not enough. Now, you would have been evaluating your FMP all the way through the project because the journal is that really. But the evaluation at the end, I really want you to deeply reflect on your growth as a professional, as a person, in terms of getting you ready for that next step, getting you closer to where you want to be after the course. I need you to think deeply about these questions and to answer honestly, to compare your work to industry professionals, industry examples. What's the gap between where you are and where they are, and how are you going to bridge that gap? The submission evidence for the evaluation is an evaluation that critically evaluates and reflects on your FMP against the agreed parameters and requirements of the project. So that is the brief. So what I've asked you to do, how does your work compare to that? Compare. Look through the 6 tasks. Be honest. The more honest you can be, the better. Some people last year managed to get their work up to the merit because they were honest, brutally honest in their evaluation. And they showed learning. They showed they had developed and grown as a consequence of that reflection, which is not tokenistic. It's meaningful and relevant for you to reflect. Being a lifelong learner, constantly reflecting on what you're doing and how you can iterate, fail fast, and go again. It's crucial to your progress as a creative. So, the evaluation, be brutally honest with yourself. If you're unsure, speak to myself, Dan, or Tom, and we'll give you some pointers, as well as the peer and self-assessment forms to help you. Okay? That's it. You have reached the end. Any concerns or worries? Please speak to us, but it's important we check all 6 tasks before we submit. Okay? Good luck in the exhibition.